All right, welcome back to Comics with Drew. I Drew again doing a live stream again. It's shocking, I know, but I have a really fantastic guest with me who wants to come on and talk about his new project that's currently funding, Hybrids: The Killing Fields, parts 1 through 3, and that is Luke Stone. So as you can see, Luke Stone is on the screen. He is in a very dapper hat, and he's in a very moody lit room, something that
Yeah,
I don't have. I don't have
yeah,
any of this Hollywood lighting that you have, Luke.
yeah, yeah. I've got lights set up in my office for mood lighting. Yeah, I like it. It's it's that I like that pink in the background. It's like my daughter calls it hybrids pink because a lot of my stuff is blue and pink stuff in there. So yeah,
Hybrids pink.
yeah.
Wow,
So,
that is
but
awesome.
Drew, thanks for having me on. It's great to meet you face to face, and I'm
Absolutely.
looking forward to talking comics with you tonight, man.
Definitely, definitely. So I'm running into some kind of weird technical difficulty, which I have not previously run into,
Oh
where I'm
no.
trying to share my screen here on StreamYard, yay, and um, and it says that I don't have a plugin. What? Share screen, share. The browser can't access your screen. Try capturing a different screen to see if this continues. Okay, fine. So let me do. Well, I got all my secret, my deep dark secrets on this other screen.
Yeah,
So
don't dox yourself, man.
we don't want to dox ourselves. Also, by the way, for those at home, if you start streaming, if you start zooming or doing any kind of stuff with your work,
Yeah.
make sure that you sanitize your screen before you start sharing with people. Like hide all your browser favorites. All of those
Yes.
guinea pig videos that you don't want people to know about because you like to eat the guinea pigs. Just kidding. I don't have any kind of problem like that. Actually, I used to have guinea pigs. So, and when they were bad, I used to call them Ecuadorian hot pockets, and they would look at me, and they were not scared because they don't speak English. But it was
So
just for my own personal
what's
cathartic
funny, we
experience.
have guinea pigs too, right? We got
Yeah.
two of them, and my daughter's um, best friend, he's Brazilian, right? And
hmm
when his aunt came, they had guinea pig, and he took pictures of the guinea pigs in the oven,
Oh my
and
God.
sent it to us. And I'm like, that looks strangely delicious. Now I'm looking at those guinea pigs a little differently than I used to. It's kind of sad. It's really
Yeah.
kind of sad.
No, it is definitely sad. Let's go. Okay, let's see here. Um, I need to hide the. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yes, and we are going to um, automatically hide and show the doc. See, there you go. I don't want that.
Sorry,
Okay,
that's me.
that's okay.
I'm trying
And
to share out the video.
yeah, yeah. So while we're waiting for me to figure out how to operate a computer, yes, yeah, I'm an IT professional. I promise. Um,
Yeah.
tell us about hybrids because um, it looks amazing from what I can see, and I will show everybody the screen as soon as I can get that done. But
Yeah, well, if you
give us
need,
a little bit of
I
background
can
about it.
share the screen too. I do
Oh,
have all that stuff up. I'm what you call a professional. No, I'm joking. I'm not professional anything, man.
uh-huh.
What am I talking about? But yeah, so yeah, hybrids is a project I've been working on for a long time. It's kind of a concept that I came up with probably 12 years or so now.
hmm
Um, yeah, yeah, I'd say it's probably been about that long. Hello, Mike. What's up, man? Odin's good people. He's a good guy. So I really appreciate that guy. He's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Michael Odin is a great guy, but go ahead. I don't
yeah.
care about Michael right now.
You don't care about Michael?
I'm just kidding,
Oh,
Michael. I'm just kidding.
oh. Yeah, it's all right though. He's all right though. So yeah, Hybrids' book. I kind of started working on the concept a long time ago. Did some artwork for it and things like that, and it's had various different iterations through the years, but it really started to take shape a few years about 2015. I started 14. I started having some kind of real ideas with it where I wanted to take it,
Mm-hmm.
and made some really cool connections from some research that I did. So basically, the idea is I I grew up with the in a Christian conservative home
Yeah.
mostly, and one of the verses that always intrigued me was Genesis chapter 6, where it talks
Mm-hmm.
about the sons of God seeing the
Mm-hmm.
daughters of men and having babies, right? And then so I would
Yes.
research that, and that turns out to be these creatures called the Nephilim, and
Mm-hmm.
and it turns out that these Nephilim, people believe are the like a real life inspiration for the Greek gods, and so that kind of became the premise for this comic book idea. What if the uh, these you know real life Greek gods, the Nephilim, if they started to if they continued to procreate, but it became a um, kind of a recessive trait in people, you know,
Yeah.
and you get like red hair or blue eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you never know like this recessive trait, and something would happen if people could just develop these like godlike abilities out of nowhere. Would be really
Mm-hmm.
cool. So that became kind of the premise, and I started to build a story around that. Pardon me.
All right.
Yeah.
I need to refresh this because this is showing me like all the other things to watch. Okay, so
Hmm.
that's kind of weird. Does Indiegogo do that a lot? Where you like do
Yeah,
your
because
creative?
it's a YouTube thing.
That's crazy. Okay, all right. So
Yeah.
hybrid, the sons of gods continue. Genesis and the
Yeah.
sons of God getting busy with the beautiful ladies.
Yeah, but that's kind of the kind of where I came from. And so actually, if you play the video, Randy Zimmerman does a great job of in less than a minute, kind of giving the idea of what the story is and kind of what the Killing Field is doing.
Well, why don't we do that?
Yeah,
Okay, don't go get your popcorn. It's only going to be about a minute. Here it
yeah,
goes.
just a minute. That's all you got.
Welcome to Hybrid, the Sons of God. In this highly acclaimed series, descendants of the ancient gods face off against a celestial threat. Our heroes begin to converge at the Stardust Hotel, where a deadly ambush awaits. Who will be the first to fall on the killing field? A fast-paced adventure where a Chris Claremont-era X-Men meet ancient aliens. Elements of drama, horror, and humor tell a well-crafted story. Complex character dynamics come into play as average people face unspeakable evil while learning to live with their newfound power. Referred to as the X-Men I wanted to read, it is worth diving into the hybrid universe now. With plenty of ways to get started at any budget, you can get your copy of Hybrids today, only on Indiegogo.
All right, that looks amazing.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
now you're the writer. You're not the artist for
Oh,
this
I
one,
am the
right?
writer and the artist on this one. Yeah, I
Oh,
do both.
really?
Yeah.
Is
No,
that right? So this
I
is your
do.
work here?
Yeah, this is my work. I do have a guy who does my layouts and roughs.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll like kind of rough in a page and kind of set up the camera angles and stuff for me based on the scripts that I write, and then he sends me those, and I pencil over them and ink them and send them off to the colorist. So yeah, yep, that's my work.
That is amazing. Now, it's funny because I have seen your work before. And one of the things that I like about a lot of indie comic people, especially in the last couple of years, is that they'll put together, and I've seen this with you, they'll put together crowd funds that are successful. And then the art will be good enough. But as you continue working at it, it just gets so much better and it gets better
Hmm.
by an order of magnitude.
Yeah,
And the art here is very much more improved over stuff that I've seen from you for over the past couple of years.
yeah, yeah.
So
And, you should
now
see some of the stuff I'm working on now. It's I lost a lot going through this COVID battle, but I can
mhm,
still draw, and so it's
yeah,
like since it's the only thing I can still do,
mhm,
um, that's honed in even tighter now. I think.
wow,
Yeah.
yeah. No, this what man, this is really good stuff. There's a lot of people that don't really understand things like how to properly color a page, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And are you coloring too?
No, I'm not. I got a guy named Patrick Gamma from
Okay.
Brazil that does my colors. He started with me with issue one,
Hmm.
and so we've both grown together with our art.
Hmm.
Yeah, but he gets the universe. Like he
Hmm.
understands exactly where I'm going for. So I don't I rarely ever have to tell him to correct anything.
Yeah.
He knows the world. He knows what I want. The script is very, it's very clear about the mood, and he produces it. And when I draw the pages now, I kind of have his colors in mind.
Hmm.
I kind of know where he's going to go with it. And so I leave things on the page that allow him to do his magic, so.
This is just amazing work. It really is. So we
Thank
got,
you.
let's see here. So this is 1 through 3. So
Hmm.
it's all 3 books, and you can
It
get the
is,
mini
yeah.
bust.
Yeah,
So
there's it's three
I'm sure
of
that go ahead.
yeah, this is 3 of 4. There's gonna be 4 installments of the Killing Field. Now, if I'm legacy numbering these, which I do, this is
Hmm.
technically issue 8.
Hmm.
There are 5 issues before the Killing Field started, and it was called Trash Day, which kind of launched the story. But this story can stand on its own. You can start on issue 6 and be able to jump right into the story. Like the title says, the Killing Field. It it's foreboding.
Hmm.
There's going to be pain and
Hmm.
loads of it, So, but yeah, it. I try to go from the concept that every book is somebody's first book.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I want people to, even if they pick up issue 8, it's the first time they've ever looked at a book, and they open it up, they can kind of get what's going on,
Hmm.
and then have references to anything that might be from the series before. Like I'll put
Well, let
those
me
little
ask you
notes at
about
the
that,
bottom.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
So one of the things that I love about Spider-Man books, like Amazing Spider-Man books,
Yep.
and there's lots of things to criticize, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to talk about things
Yep.
that I like.
Yes.
Is there are some other books that do this, but basically, Spider-Man books, current ones, are famous for giving you a little bit of a rundown of where we are in the story.
Yeah.
So you can pick up any book, and not only do they give you a rundown of what's going on in the story, they always even start off with Peter Parker was bitten by a spider. Like nobody has ever figured this out,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's almost like if you ever open up a Batman book and Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered in an alley, and everyone started off with that. But that's kind
Yeah.
of like what Peter Parker does. So do you do something similar with your books,
I
or
do. I
um,
do. The
mhm.
credits page, I
Okay,
always put like a brief synopsis, like, kind of what the last issue, like, uh, you know, this is what happened last time. I don't
yeah,
really go into that kind of like hokey stuff, like, because it's not the vibe of the book. But,
hmm,
on the last issue, da da da, but it's
hmm,
kind of like that. It's a blurb that lets you know, like, this is kind of where you're picking up. So,
yeah,
uh, because I want it to be like, hey, every book could potentially be somebody's first book, first experience with a story. I want them to pick it up and like it.
hmm. So I always make sure I need to make sure I remember to refresh every time the end of the video, so we have this excellent artwork.
Yeah,
It's
thank
a
you.
great thumbnail. So
Yeah,
we've got you're at 59%. You got 34 days left, 36
yeah,
factors, and
yeah. We
we're
were
going
just
for.
past our first 24 hours.
Oh
Yeah, we
wow!
launched.
So
We
you just
launched
launched
last
this?
night.
I didn't even know
We
that.
launched last night. Yeah,
Well, congratulations! This is
thank you.
fantastic.
Yeah,
So I feel so much better now
yeah,
because I'm one of the first people to get you on and talk about it.
yeah, yeah.
So okay, so this
Technically,
is
number 5. You're number 5 because I've
well,
done 4. I did 4 streams in 24 hours, man. I mean, I'm beat. Well, I was beat, but I took
uh,
like I told you earlier, I took a huge nap, and I'm raring to go for hours
all right.
now.
So people, if you don't know, Luke has had a seriously difficult year, and
Yeah,
because he got COVID,
I got the
and
vid.
he got the Rona, and he got stuck in a hospital. Just about the worst case scenario that you
Hmm.
can have without dying. So,
Yeah,
and here he is launching a book. Dude is dedicated. I mean, as you can see, he's still got some medical equipment he's got to deal with, and he's got to rebuild the capacity to breathe.
yeah,
And he's out here pushing this campaign the way you got to do it. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that. I see a lot of people get very, very angry. It's like,
yeah.
I launched my campaign and I talked to nobody except my mother, and no one funded it.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You've got
Well,
to
there's a
commit
lot of
to it.
elements. You've
Yeah.
got to
So,
hustle. You've got to
mhm.
talk about it before the campaign starts.
Yeah,
You've got
that's
to
right.
talk about it during the campaign.
Hmm.
You've got to update everybody while it's happening. But the way you build your page matters too. You've got to
Yeah.
put your best foot forward. The best art you have, it has to go on the page. It has to
Hmm.
go in that thing. I in the content section, you'll notice there's 8 pages of story. That's the first 8 pages of the book. When you open the book, you're going to have those 8 pages. So, I mean, it's a 32-page book. Some of those pages are, it's just kind of a secret. I haven't really talked much about this yet. It's not really a secret. I just haven't talked about it. Is 6 of those pages in the back. It's a backup story. It's a new story that I'm working on with Edward Davis. He's
Really?
kind of co-creating that with me. I've kind of created this concept. He's scripting it and writing it as a co-creator. And we've got Brian Dawson, who does my layouts, is doing the art for that book. He's doing all of it, and it's called Juror 13, and it's about it's about these detectives that are trying to hunt down this vigilante that takes out people who are guilty but get off on technicalities. Okay, and they're guilty of crimes like what you would see in like Law and Order SVU.
What's the name of the book again? What's the name of the project?
Juror 13.
Juror 13.
Yeah,
right,
and
we
he
always
kills
have 12
them.
jurors.
Yeah, and he kills them in very poetic ways. So
he's a serial killer.
he's a serial killer vigilante, yes. And so they're trying to hunt him down. The story, I will tell you, the story has a tremendous twist once we get further into the series. But the hunting down this vigilante is fun. So the first 6 pages I'm very excited about. So you'll get those in the back of this book. And if we hit a certain stretch goal, we're going to add even more pages and do a backup story for the Archer character in the book, Triple Play. He's going to have his own spinoff. And I'm working with another writer, Shane Almond, to do that series. So I'm very excited about this. Yeah.
You mentioned the Archer because actually, let me see. Can I share this screen? And we're going to stop sharing this tab. And I want to share. See, now I'm reduced to sharing tabs. Thanks, technology. All right. Yeah. Let's see. We're going to go to here and share this. This is Triple Play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the other day,
that's the guy.
You shared this art, which is freaking amazing. This is amazing art, and I mean, if you scroll in on this, actually, I can do this. I mean, just the detail, just up here. Most people don't even think about that stuff in indie comics these days. It's like, oh, I've got this guy here, and I can put like a wash color behind him, and that's it. And so look at how awesome this is. But
I'm not just a typical indie guy.
Yeah, no, you're not.
Yeah, I've got a plan. So I commissioned this art from a guy named Dodi Eka, and he is a tremendous artist. And he actually messaged me today. Hey, you got anything else for me to draw? I'm like, I'm a couple of weeks out from having the next thing for you. So he's like, oh darn, yeah. But he's going to do a lot of work for me. This guy's tremendous. And he asked me what I wanted for a background. I described what I was looking for. I wanted something kind of dark, warehousey. Sent him a couple pictures and things, and he penciled out this. And he goes, "Is that good?" I said, "Dude, yeah, ink it for me." So he inked it. I sent it over to the colorist. Oh man, the colorist name it's not common, so it's not. I'm not able to pull it up from memory right now.
We can just call him Good.
So, good, yeah. So he did a great job on the colors, grabbed the mood, but the one thing I noticed was I was like, those windows, it's lackluster for me. And I said, hey, this is great. I love everything you've done. But I said, maybe give us a little more highlight on the characters, just a little bit more. And I said, in those windows back there, so that's a great place to add some sparkle, if you can. A little bit of texture. And he came back with what you zoomed in on.
Yeah.
That like dust, that's back there, and I go, dude, that's perfect. I said, I don't want anything I want it subtle, but good,
No, it's phenomenal. See, you got the stars out there, right there. And you've got like, it's funny because you can look at that and you can, your mind will play tricks with you because you're not sure what is the whole and what is not the whole. But when you just really pay attention, I mean, it's so good. Well, really is good.
You can feel the dust in the room. He added the dust in the room. If you've ever been in an old dirty warehouse, which I have,
As have
there's
I.
dust in the air everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And he did it. So those are two guys I'm definitely going to be working with in the future. Um, I mean, just they did great work. They did fantastic work.
Excellent. Well,
So
let me ask you about this character, because this looks like
sure.
a fantastic character. So his name is
Yeah.
Triple Play.
Yep.
He's one person. And I know that the campaign talks about it's kind of like X-Men by Claremont. So
Yeah.
a lot of these characters kind of have that vibe. Tell us
Mhm.
about Triple Play, because he looks like an amazing character.
Yeah. I always wanted to do an archer, but I also wanted to do like a triplicating character, you know. And now that's a little derivative of like triplicate girl, and there's all kinds of multiplication characters out there. So that's nothing new. But I wanted to have another take on this guy. So there's each one of these characters has a different personality. So it's Charlie, Charles, and Chuck. They each one have a special skill. Hale Belmont, he's got a book, Smokes, that is Smokes the Fox. That is, I think it's Smokes the Fox or Wolf. Or
yes, I
like
have
that.
seen your Smokes the Fox. We shall
Yeah.
talk.
So he is. Yep, he's funding right now. He's already funded. But he's still funding. He's growing those numbers, running hard for a stretch goal. So definitely check him out. But
Hit
these
me
guys
in
have
the DMs on my Twitter.
but these guys have different personalities.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean backgrounds? There's a lot of people that don't. Some of the pages that I share don't have backgrounds because I do establishing shot backgrounds, and then during the action, I want the action to stand out. I don't want some building in the background to be more prominent than the fist punching the guy that's made of rock. I want so I use backgrounds strategically in my comics. And but yeah, something like this, a pinup, a cover, some art that's going to be printed on metal like this, it needs to be quality. But these characters, they each one have their own personality. They're different people, and I say that wink, wink. They're different people. They are, instead of one guy that separates into three, it's three guys that merge into one. So they're triplets. They're triplets. They refer to themselves in the third person. So whenever the single triple play is there, he says we, us.
Wait, so he's legitimately a they them pronoun person.
He really is, yeah.
Wow, that's subversive.
Yeah.
By the way, that's how you do it, people. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's an interesting thing about him. Now the guy that I have writing is a huge Green Arrow fan, and he had talked to me about he worked on a project with me. I commissioned him to script out a story I was working on called The Runner, and so I was a little busy. I needed some scripts. I want to be that kind of showrunner, kind of guy, that mind that creates the worlds and works with other people, collaborates with them to make it happen. And kind of like a Stanley of indie comics, if you will. And so I had this concept, and I thought, I'm busy writing hybrids. I'm busy drawing hybrids. I think it'd be nice to work with another writer on this. And Telepathic Bunny, Cooper, he put me in contact with Shane Almond. And Shane Almond is from the UK. Great guy, very creative. And so I told him what I wanted to do with the story. He scripted out 6 pages for me, and I drew those, and that's a backup in issue 2, the remastered issue 2, that's being attached to this campaign. And it was just great. And so he wrote another 6 pages for me, and I've got to get them drawn. He sent them over to me right before I got sick. And but I talked with him. I said, man, I really like the way you write. Like you've got a fresh style that I haven't seen, and it's good. It's good. I don't work with a lot of other writers, as we talked about off stream earlier. I find a lot of people that think that they can write comics really can't write comics. They're not very good. So when I find someone that's good, like a Shane Almond or a Edward Davis or a Piper Steed, I work with those guys.
Or a Michael Oden.
Or Michael
right?
Oden, who's very good. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, hey Fizz, what's up? Nice to see you in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Here I am. I'm doing I'm running the stream thing. You can tell I'm on a lot of streams, can't you?
Yes. He's all up
I
in
love
here
it.
running Comics with Drew live. It's amazing. I mean,
I,
what a
I,
talented
I
dude.
love it. The chat is my favorite. I love it when the chat is active and saying stuff. I come alive. I don't know what it is. But yeah, so I'm working with him. I told him, I said, yeah, I'd like to work with you on something. I've got some backstories, some side stories, some standalone series I want to do for some of the characters as I'm approaching the end of the planned arcs that I have for hybrids, which is Trash Day, The Killing Field, and then Lifeline is a 3-book arc that kind of wraps up the the um, the antagonism or the antagonist uh, that they have in Azazel. And so I'm working on that. And he said, man, I'd really like to play with the Archer character, triple play.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, good news. There's only a couple of things that I know about that character.
Yeah.
When I literally created him as I was drawing the page, as I was writing the book. I mean, as I'm writing out the page, I'm like, I had this character idea in the back of my head, and I'm like, he's going in here, like he's here now, and so I pop him into the story, and I only know a few things about him that are there, and I said it's open season for you with this character, and he goes, man, I'm a huge Green Arrow fan, and so we met again. It got shelved because I was trying to die.
Trying to not die.
Yeah. I was
You're trying to
taking
postpone meeting Jesus in person.
Exactly. Yeah, I took my nap, as I call it, and I told him. So we met, and he was complaining about Green Arrow. He didn't like what was going on, and I said, "Well, here's what I want you to do." I said, "Write the Archer book that you want to write, and make that this, And so his eyes lit up, and I cannot wait to see what he does with He's working on the script right now, and I'm going to hand it over to an artist to have ready because I believe I'm going to hit the stretch goal to get that, to add that into the book. So yeah.
So let's see. Do we have the stretch goals down here?
No, I've not listed the stretch goals yet.
Okay.
I want to open them up one at a time. I do have them planned pretty much. We're going to add a patch that everyone's going to get. We're going to add more story. And that artwork that you saw of Triple Play, we're going to do a metal trading card with that artwork. Yeah, so...
trading cards are tight, as they say in screen pitch meetings.
Yeah.
But that's actually a brilliant idea that you've got a character that you've created. You've thought of the character, but you haven't spent so much time with it that you know everything about it. And then you find someone who's got genuine talent, and you say, look, fill in some of the blanks, and kind of
enjoy.
And especially for someone who really likes that type of a character, that I think, as a creator, when you're thinking about stuff like this, it's cooler almost to an extent when you can see someone just take the initial idea that you have for something and then turn it into something. It's almost like you're getting both sides of the benefit. You're being entertained and you're getting to create at the same time.
Yeah, someone that has a passion for the character archetype,
Yeah.
That loves that, then I want them working on the book with me, especially if they've got genuine talent. And it just, it makes that, if you love an Archer character, then write this book, because I don't follow those Archer characters that much. Those aren't my the whole team kind of books are my favorite. And so I'm good at creating those teams. And as long as he meets A, B, and C that we do know about this character, as long as those things somehow come about, or they're not contradicted, then we're good. Everything's fine. But it's gonna be quite a story. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So real quick here, you got this. Apparently, this is your main cover here, right? With
this is a new character.
This character.
This is a new character. Her name is Molly Raynor. She is referred to as the Necromancer though she
Mm,
doesn't like to be called. We don't really go over that much in
yeah.
this book, but in the next arc, you'll notice people call her the Necromancer, and if she hears, she's not very happy about it. Um, but yeah, so her name is Molly Raynor.
Hmm.
She is a new character. We actually meet her in issue 6, and then we kill her.
Mm.
Um, and
In
then we
issue
find
6.
in issue 6. In issue 7, we're given the task to go save Molly Raynor. Okay,
Oh, okay.
and they're like, okay, how do we save a person who's already dead? Right.
Hmm.
So that is a puzzle that they have to figure out, and so they figure that puzzle out in issue 8, and they accomplish that task before meeting, before we take the characters to the killing field. And so
Hmm.
the end of issue 8 uh, drops them right there in the thick of it, and kind of gets us started. But this is a new character that we meet in the book,
Hmm.
um, and so I did the cover for this one. I always try to do cover A,
Yeah.
or if I have an artist do a book, I try to have them do cover A.
Hmm.
That way, you know, the art on the outside is represented by the art on the inside, so to speak.
Yes,
I
that
hate
is
when
important.
I hate when I
I,
get a book and the cover is drastically different than the inside.
I see this in mainstream comics, but it's especially irritating in crowdfunding comics,
Yes.
especially because of the fact that you sell a book on based upon the cover
Yeah.
oftentimes, and so you're telling people, oh look, this is this great thing, but then you know someone will not tell you that this is like, oh, a one-off commission for a cover artist, and then you get something else that's like radically different. And so I'm not going to name names, but it's happened
Oh
before,
yeah, we don't need to
and
name the names. We know. It's also
it's
why I
driving me
don't.
crazy.
It's also why I don't present the covers until after I've presented the sample pages.
Hmm.
I want them to see the sequential art first, because here's the truth. I'm proud of that sequential art. I think it looks great, especially that panel right there with the girl with the you know with the
Here,
wings. No, up the one up a little further.
the
There,
one
no,
up
that one
here,
right there. That one right there,
this
with the
one.
glowy eyes and the hands out. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
uh, I I just love how that turned out. It is not easy to draw hands like that. You know,
No, it's not. Ask
yeah,
Michael Bancroft.
yeah. He'll tell you the truth. Yeah, but
Yes.
I love that panel. I love what's happening in the story there, and it just makes me feel good. And I want people to see what I've what I've what I've accomplished on the interior, story wise, words and pictures both.
Hmm.
So I present the interior pages first
Hmm.
intentionally, so people can see the the not just the sizzle but the meat.
Yeah. Now, is this the same character with the wings?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
And because I was a bit thrown because I thought these were different characters, but then I just noticed that she's got the same kind of costume.
yeah. Same costume. Yeah, same gal. Her name is Serafina.
Uh-huh.
She is the daughter of the non-powered guy named Rev, who is
Okay.
a former reverend. Uh, the,
Mm.
the the team has their headquarters in an abandoned church. Used to be
Ah.
his. Um, we do
It's
learn
not
a
a,
lot
a
about.
school gymnasium, right? It's an actual real
It's a
church.
real church. Yeah, it's a church that's boarded up. We see that in earlier issues, and uh, and especially in this arc, we see him. Expect the
So
last issue.
what I wanted to ask you about, because you're talking about how these characters are kind of inspired by Genesis. So those
Yeah,
of you who are not Jesus fans, there's a lot of you should read the Bible because it's like the foundation for Western everything.
yeah,
but
yeah.
but more importantly, there are a lot of cool things, especially in the Old Testament, that people just kind of like ignore. And then what you're talking about with that passage where the sons of God came down and
Yeah.
they took the beautiful human women and as partners or whatever, and then
Right. Yeah.
these characters are descended from them. Is that right? Is that
Out
the
chicken wow wow. Yeah.
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 So they've been
They
around for like what? How
no. These characters are just however old they look.
yeah.
Um, these are these are the offspring.
Hmm.
So these Nephilim, these angel human hybrids,
Hmm.
that inspired the Greek gods. These are
Mhm.
the sons of these Greek gods, basically.
Okay.
They are the sons and daughters of them. Um, they're
So they look like they're 20 years old. So they are 20 years old. They're just their
yeah, yeah,
descendants. Okay.
yeah. Something happens that causes the recessive trait. A manufactured event causes this recessive trait to manifest and cause powers. And what happens in the first arc is the people that get these powers, they start coming up missing. They're being
Hmm.
abducted, and so our heroes are trying to find out who's taking them and where they're taking them and why and all that kind of stuff going on. And primarily because Rev had his wife and daughter abducted.
Hmm.
And so we actually meet Seraphina in issue 5 when
Hmm.
that arc culminates with a rescue attempt. And so we
Yeah.
meet her there, but then there's a backup story, 7 pages of Seraphina, that kind of
Hmm.
gives us an insight to her mind. You don't have to read that to understand this either, because
Hmm.
we do explain a little bit of kind of this astral plane that she travels through.
Hmm.
But these first 8 pages kind of show a little bit of her growth as
Hmm.
a hero and not just as a victim.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk about this particular page. What I really like about your work, Luke, is that you understand visual storytelling. Because there's no dialogue here. I don't know if you're going to add dialogue, but
no, that's a finished
you
page.
so I mean, it just looks amazing. Forget about the color. Forget about the gorgeous women.
Yeah,
But you know how to put together an actual, like, for lack of a better term, it's a good visual. It makes sense. It
it's
flows
sequential
visually,
storytelling. Yeah,
and so many people don't seem to understand this. And you can write great dialogue, but if you can't figure out how to put it down in a way that makes sense visually, then
yeah,
why are you even doing a comic book?
yeah.
So you understand it. And I personally, I love close-ups of hardware with
Yeah.
being racked. So this is like my favorite page. I'm like a sucker
Yeah.
for this whole entire
I
page.
got to give credit where credit is due.
Uh-huh.
The layout for that page is Brian Dawson.
Hmm.
He gets sequential storytelling,
Hmm.
and I like the way he lays it out and spatially, and so
Hmm.
that's why I work with him. I hire him to do that stuff. That stuff's tedious for me. I
Hmm.
come up with he and I make similar choices.
Hmm.
We have a very similar style when it comes to the shapes that we choose,
Hmm.
but so I but I like the way he lays out a page, and when I first saw his work, I was like, dude, you get sequential storytelling. Do you do layouts?
Hmm.
And he's like, what do you mean? Like, I just want you to rough out the page for me.
Yeah.
That way I can write. You'll take my script, you'll
Hmm.
rough out the page, then I'll pencil and ink it. And
Hmm.
he goes, yeah, I can do that. And he's like, that's easy money.
Yeah.
So I love working with the guy. He gets it. And uh, I'm going to say something that he's told me not to tell anyone. But he goes, you're my favorite writer to work with.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I'm like, thank you.
I will make sure that I let everybody know that by letting
I'm
them watch my
I'm
stream.
Brian's, and he works with a lot of writers, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, man, you get it, like you're the storytelling. So it's like it's definitely a partnership between he and I on storytelling, because
Hmm.
I put in like what needs to happen. I describe all of this in prose.
Hmm.
You know, it's like I said, so in the script, I was like, Seraphina uh, leaps towards the hex soldier with psychic blade extended. You
Hmm.
can see a frightened Yang in the background.
Hmm.
We have a close up of the gun being racked and jammed,
Hmm.
as Seraphina comes across and slashes and cuts the thing, and the hex trooper grabs his knife and lunges towards Seraphina. And there's a little detail that most people aren't going to catch. If you look at the reflection of the knife in her eye, it's
Hmm.
a scalpel.
Really? Okay. Well, let's
Yeah,
take a look there.
yeah,
Let's go over. It is a scalpel.
it's a scalpel.
Why is it a scalpel? I'll just ask you that. Is that a
Um,
secret?
no, it's part of her of of what makes this character unique.
Uh-huh.
She is one of the most powerful creatures in this universe, but
Okay.
she doesn't know it. She doesn't
Yeah.
know it.
So
But
why does she think that?
in
Why does
issue
she see it as
5,
a scalpel?
she was abducted and
Okay.
she was tested in a facility, and she watched her mom get dissected in front of her. So she's got severe trauma,
Oh, okay.
mental trauma. So anyone that like, it's a little kind of an Easter egg for that character, that when you zoom in on that eye and you look at it, that knife reminds her of the scalpel, which is
That
why
is,
she breaks in the next panel. That's the end of it,
yeah.
And so then as I wrote it, she breaks with anger
Mm-hmm.
and just lashes out.
Mm-hmm.
And then, her eyes still aglow. She reaches for Yang's hand and transports to the astral plane.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, you sold me. I'll definitely be backing the book for sure.
I appreciate that.
And it's just amazing. There's a lot of stuff out there that you can support, but not as much stuff is as well thought out as what you have here. And I mean, I just love this whole sequence where, like, you have an angel with an energy blade. So she cuts your gun in half. I would definitely naturally pull out my knife next, personally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't turn around and run. I'd say, "Oh, I got this. Oh, I got this."
I'm trained for this. She's small. I deal with superhuman powered people all the time.
All the time, man.
That's what these hex troopers do. They're always dealing with these people, so they're not worried about it. He's like, I'm paid to take this thing out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not hex trooper, so it's funny when I say it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, in this right here, a lot of people don't seem to understand how to do the "come with me if you want to live"
The
pose.
foreshortening is so hard to do.
But you got it nailed here.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful book. It really is.
Thank you.
This is the latest issue, and it's legacy numbered what?
8.
8. Okay. And you can buy the current storyline, which is 1 through 3 for the Killing Field, and that's $30. So you're getting 3 for basically the cost of 2, since you can buy the original one for 15.
Yep.
So
it's a discount to buy all 3. Yes.
Yeah. So typically, how long is your turnaround time from the close of the campaign or the fulfillment?
The files. I'll know how many copies I need by the second, third, last day. It's the last day. So I'll send those off to the printer. They'll have the files in hand before the project closes, and then I'll leave I'll leave some of it in demand, and I'll print the books. And
so we got a fulfillment date of July.
Mm-hmm.
All right, nice. And you usually are good on hitting that target, right?
Yeah. The only time I've missed my target was on the last book for about 15 packages. But I was literally in the hospital dying.
Yeah, I know. I think I can let that slide. A lot of other people don't have excuses like that. So
yeah.
By the way, Belmont,
I had one backer complain.
Yeah. There's always that one lunatic. Belmont, not much is up, man. I'm just talking to Luke about his comic book. But anyway, no, it looks fantastic, and you got 4 people buying you coffee. Wow, that's very nice of them.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
And
I know some people, they want to help, but maybe they can't afford the international shipping. Maybe they don't have the money to buy a full book or all of it, but they can, man, let me throw you $5 to fuel the creativity and help you birth your beautiful mind babies. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now you can also get the Trash Day trade paperback as an add-on. I have 15 copies of cover A and cover B left, so those are available as an add-on. Plus, I've got the remastered issue 1 and remastered issue 2 available as add-ons.
What is Trash Day?
Trash Day is the first arc.
Okay.
Yeah. That's that's Legacy issues 1 through 5.
Okay.
So, yeah, this is Legacy issues 6 through 8.
Okay. So, and you don't have a digital perk on this?
No, I didn't do digital. I haven't had a lot of people buy digital perks.
Really?
Yeah, I've been told, hey, from the coach told me don't do a digital perk. So the coaches, right?
Yeah, I know the coaches. I hear that. Although I will say this, the whole digital perk thing, it really depends on what your philosophy is, right?
Yeah.
And I am not going to argue that one way is right or not. So I
Yeah.
understand
True.
the
Yeah.
point. But for me, I personally like them because of the fact that if you do have someone that is overseas,
Mhm.
and you don't want to go through spending $50 to ship something, they could buy it like that. So that's
Mhm.
something that I like. There are some other books that have gotten digital perks with them. One I reviewed recently, Perfect 10. Dave Brink does those.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, but Dave Brink doesn't really listen to. I don't think he really. He may not even know who the coach is.
He may not.
uh,
Um,
he's a funny guy.
if I do a digital tier or decide
Uh
to
huh.
add one,
Hmm.
then it's not going to be single issues. It's going
Hmm.
to be the deluxe package. You're going to get everything, and so it's going to be it's going to be more
Fair
than
enough.
$5. It's going to be like
Fair enough.
$25 because you're going to get everything digital that I do, even
Yeah.
artwork like the
Hmm.
prints. I'll put that in there so you can use it as a phone background or something like that.
That's
So you
nice.
have access to that stuff.
Yeah,
So
just
if
like a
I
whole
do a
package.
digital,
So,
yeah, if I do a digital, it's usually that way. Once
hmm.
I start getting about halfway, I'll survey people if if I'm not seeing a lot of international backers, I'll pop one in there, and then
Hmm.
I'll advertise it for a couple of days that I've added a digital tier. But the thing is, like, I want people to have a physical copy
Yeah.
because I write this to be read as a book.
Oh,
Problem with the
absolutely.
digital tier is it doesn't lay the pages out right.
That is true,
Yeah,
especially if they decide to wreck their entire, method for delivering
yeah,
comicsology. I'm
yeah,
not talking about you.
yeah.
Actually, yeah, I
So
am talking exactly
I
about you,
actually
comicsology.
draw the book with facing pages together. A
Wow.
lot of people don't do that, but I draw the book with facing pages together. So
So
if
what do you mean by that when you say that? Because
so, when I
I,
open up page one, it's just page one.
yeah.
But when I start working on page two, I've got
Hmm.
page two and three next to each other. So I draw pages two and three together
Okay.
at the same time. I pencil it and then I
Hmm.
ink it because
Yeah.
I'm doing the flow
Hmm.
of sequential storytelling to make sure the two pages look good together and they flow well together. My
Okay,
colorist
so I see what
looks
you're
at
saying.
both pages
Are
at the
you
same
doing
time
this
when he colors.
physically with your you're putting this
Yeah,
on like Bristol? Okay.
yeah, no. I do digital. Here, I'll share this for a second so that you can see this.
Sure.
Um, here's how I do this. I've actually got um, I've actually got two. I don't know if you can see it or not, or if it's showing it. No, it's doing something weird. Here, let me. I'll just share my screen. I'll share that screen.
Sure.
Oh, it's having some trouble here. I don't understand. Here, let me try it again.
So your original work when you're doing penciling, that's digital. You're digitally penciling it.
Yeah, digital pencils and inks. That's how I work.
Okay. And what do you work on? Do you work out like on a Cintiq or
Clips. Yeah, I got a UE on.
Cintiq?
StreamYard's having some trouble.
Yeah,
It's not
it's been
seeing anything.
behaving badly.
Yeah, it's not. I
So.
can't, and I wish I could show this because I actually have two pages up that have layouts, so you could
Hmm.
see. I would like for you to see how the layout looks, and
Hmm.
then you'll be able to see, once I get the pencils and inks done,
Hmm.
kind of how much they're the same but yet different it looks. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, I know
But
what you mean. Jack Kirby used to draw the way. Do you know how he used to draw his books?
huh, yeah,
So for those who don't know, Jack Kirby, rest in peace, the godfather of all comic book art, it seems.
yeah,
Um, he would get the idea for the story, right? And then he would sit down at his drafting table and he would draw panel after panel after panel, and he would draw the entire book, start to finish, one panel after another, and that's how he would do his entire work. It's
yeah,
it's mind-boggling to me to
yeah,
to have the kind of focus and the concentration to do that. It's kind of like when, you know, I know. Ethan will go directly to inks. So
Yeah.
I mean, he might show a pencil at the paper, but then boom, he's like going straight to inks with it, and that kind of high wire stuff is just like it drives me crazy. I'd have so much anxiety doing it, but
Yeah, I do something similar to that.
mhm,
I do a very rough pencil.
yeah,
Like it's like, okay, here's a detail that I want to put in there. I might clean up a few things. Some of the more amorphous blobs, I may like throw in like, okay, this is where the costume lines are going to
mhm,
go. Change some of the main shapes to
mhm,
match like how I would normally draw something,
mhm,
and then fix the wings, especially on this character, do that
mhm,
kind of stuff, and then I just go straight to inks and just
yeah,
get it done, just make it
yeah.
happen.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, book is amazing. It truly
thank
is.
you.
So anyway, is there anything else you want to talk about besides this fantastic project, which everybody should back? And the link will be also at the bottom of this video for replays, and I'll be sharing it on Twitter as well.
Thank you. Yeah,
Um,
I'm working on a book with Piper Steed
mhm,
called Riff Writers. The
mhm,
artist is Dillard from Dillard Draws, and then
okay.
we've got a great colorist working on that. That's going to be coming out this year um, as a crowdfunder, but I'm
Mhm,
also going to make those pages Juror 13. Um, I've got a short story that introduces a new world called Eighth Day
okay.
that was drawn by Eric Hodson, Dreaded
Mhm,
Dinosaur, and I'm waiting on the colorist to get done with that. So before I can get that lettered and stuff, but I'm very excited about those pages. And then that will be available with the Runner and Juror 13, Rift Riders, all of that in a single volume that I'm calling Other Realms.
mhm,
And so depending on how well crowdfunding goes for that and for some of the individual books, we may just continue the stories in 6-page increments.
mhm,
And every 6 pages will compile and do Other
mhm,
Realms 2, Other Realms 3, things like that. So it'd be like a compilation of stories that are continuing to each issue,
okay.
kind of like a Shonen Jump kind of aspect, but it's all
Ah,
stories that are mine. You know
I
that these are
see.
Luke's stories. Yeah,
That's a crazy idea. So
yeah,
and crazy by I mean good, good kind
yeah,
of crazy. So let me ask you this because people don't know this. This is the first time I've ever talked to you. I've never really actually met you before.
yeah,
Um, what are your influences as far as what inspires you? I know you said Claremont, X-Men. Any
yeah,
other books, and it can be anything,
yeah.
movies or
Mike
TV shows.
Mike Zeck,
Hmm.
his work, obviously Kirby and those classic artists, Buscemi,
Hmm.
all those guys. They fueled it. The comics of the '90s, those indie works. There's a book that honestly that really inspired me as a young man. It was like this company I think called Zap Comics. It was all black and white interior, and it was a
Hmm.
bunch of short stories from this company,
Hmm.
kind of introductions to their line. And I freaking loved that book. I just loved every
Hmm.
aspect to it, and I thought it was great. And so that inspired me a lot. Um, but visual storytelling, has definitely been an influence for me. And a lot of my storytelling style, I'd have to say, C.S. Lewis and Tolkien. I
Hmm.
love the idea of doing fantasy, and
Hmm.
so my book is. I really consider, even though it's superhero, I
Hmm.
consider it to be fantasy. It's like modern day fantasy for me,
Hmm.
um, because it uses some real world elements that inspire this story.
Yeah.
But um, their storytelling method of somewhat allegorical,
Hmm.
could that mean this? Could that be an analog for that? But at
Hmm.
the same time, it's just good stories and interesting. So I
Hmm.
kind of draw from that a bit, and then anything ancient aliens or conspiracy theory I can get my hands on, I suck that up like a thirsty dog. I lap that right up.
Yeah. Real quick, can you give a brief synopsis of the general plot of this, like as in what's generally going on with the story?
Yeah. So the these heroes or these people
Hmm.
that develop these powers, they determine that there's a evil corporation called the Hybrid Engineering Corporation behind all of it, and that it's
Aren't
actually
they
ran by
always the evil corporations, right?
always evil corporation, and the corporation is actually ran by a guy that's not a guy at all. He's a demon by the name of Azazel, and so they're trying to put a stop to Azazel. They're trying to stop the corporation. Turns out that we find out in issue 6 that the corporation does more than just harvest the body parts and DNA of hybrids. It does more than that, and so they find out that it's a much larger problem and threat than what they ever imagined. And so once they've kind of waged war on this company, on their trying to blow up their warehouses and stuff like that, Azazel has had enough. He has had enough, and he formulates this plot to put an end to this troublesome group of do-gooders, and he plants this kind of trick, and they play it out, and that's where we meet on the killing field. That this is just a giant ambush. So the reader knows this, but the team does not. And so the reader knows from issue 6 that this is an ambush and how it plays out. And so that's really kind of the plot and what's going on. We do describe in the first arc, how people are powered, why they're powered, and why this corporation started the whole process. Anyway, and it turns out that that Azazel had a plan to do this a long time ago, but his plans were thwarted, and so it's that's kind of where it's at. I don't want to give away too much because I want people to read it and be interested in it and have fun with it.
Yeah. Thought you must have been trying to share, and that's the reason this was off screen. I'm staring here looking at this and not looking at my screen because why would I be paying attention to driving? We don't want to do that, especially in the state of Florida, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, but that's a great synopsis for a story. I love good team books because I think that you can get a lot of the best kind of stories and best dialogue going on with that kind of stuff. So it's a phenomenal book. I will definitely be backing it. And I'm really glad that you were free to come up on this stream with me. So we got couple more minutes. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to ask me, or want to share with our potential viewers that will be watching this later?
Sure. There's a lot of metal prints we're doing on this one. A lot of metal stuff. Even going to offer the Nitho Diaz cover as a metal print book. Like the book's going to be printed with a metal cover on it. So looking
How
forward
does
to
that work? What when you say it's a metal cover, it's like
they print the book and then they print the cover on metal, and they adhere the metal to the front cover page.
Really?
Yeah. And so those come out. I've not seen one not graded for less than a 9.8 personally, because they're metal covers. They're pristine. There's no ticks, dings, anything like that. They're perfect. There's also a lot of add-on features to this campaign. I appreciate them checking out. The first 50 backers gets that chibi sticker, that triple plate chibi sticker that Joe Spicer drew.
This one.
And I appreciate anybody that is willing to, spend their hard-earned money on the project. I promise to give you the best product I can at the highest quality, shipped in the nicest packaging that I can do. So I try to give that, that bit of confidence to you and that promise to you. And then last, I just try to leave this wood pile a little bit higher than you found it. Build more than you tear down. If you can't back it, if you can't share it, then at least try to make the world a little bit better place. Because at the end of the day, that's what's most important.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, we're at an hour now, and so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. I really appreciate you coming on, and we'll be checking in with you. And if you want to come back another time later on when you just want to talk about anything like what comics you're reading, or movies you're watching, I am totally down with that. So
I love talking about that stuff. So anytime.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Luke Stone, thanks for joining with me on Comics That Do Live. episode number 2, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks.